Hello and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton, and this show has been brought to you every week for the past 8 years at 3 o'clock on Saturday on AM590, The Answer. And what an amazing journey this has been. This is our final farewell. This is our final radio show with you all today. And you can hear the crackling in my voice. It just breaks my heart. But it is the reality of where it is. What an amazing journey this has been. It's been almost 8 years to the day. And I remember when I was told that I was going to be able to have this show on AM590. And it has been a life-changing journey for me. To be real honest with you, and I should back up for those of you that haven't been following the show, my name is Opal Singleton. I'm the president and CEO of an organization called Million Kids, MILLION, millionkids.org. We're a local organization right here in Riverside, although we're a national organization in our ministry and our outreach. And our role in life, our journey, our mission, the reason we have gotten up every day of our life, and by the way, will continue to, is to really help keep kids safe from predators. It's been an interesting journey. 8 years ago, I was married. I was married at that point about 44 years, and my husband had kidney failure. And I knew that he was passing. And I started back in 2008 as working with millionkids.org, working with a local church that started the organization. Everybody thinks I started it. I didn't. I inherited it from Pastor Carrie Decker, who was generous enough to believe in me and share it with me. And our role there was to educate about human trafficking. Now, in 2008, nobody had a clue what we were talking about, okay? I had been in international marketing all my career. I was retired, and I'd started to go to Cambodia with a ministry for our church and got interested in human trafficking. And long about 2010, I met Aaron Wolf, who's now Sergeant Aaron Wolf with the Riverside County Sheriff. He's still there. And he was starting the Human Trafficking Task Force. And they had a meeting over at Boardwell Park that was put together by a lady who's since passed, but is near and dear to my heart. Her name was Woody Rucker. And I went to a meeting that night, and Woody met me, and I met Aaron, and I met Janelle, O'Farrell. I can't think of her first name right now, but I'm close to it. And Jennifer O'Farrell. And they were starting a task force. And along the course of it, they asked me if I would be their volunteer, no money, training and outreach coordinator. And I did that for, at that point, up till 2016. And really learned so much. And, you know, I would create articles, and I'd put them in the newspaper, and I would go out and make speeches, and I would go into the schools. And as we learned more and more, we had just a terrible case that was in one of our major high schools where a gang put their gang pimp and another girl in a high school to recruit another girl. And it was a life-changing experience for me as that girl disappeared and was drawn up into sex trafficking. And with that, I later met her mother and her grandmother, and they said, "We want you to be her voice." Today, I was thinking about her because this is since that event, it's been 12 years. And so she is in her late 20s and a mother and doing very, very well. That her life was changed forever because literally we didn't understand how sex trafficking worked and how gangs put people in schools to recruit innocent kids. And that is exactly what happened. So I made it my mission over the past, that was 2012, so over the past 12 years, to tell all of you everywhere I could, go out, speak, do podcasts. I did a podcast for 5 years on Voice America. And I wanted to do the radio show because I really want to train parents and grandparents about how that recruiting process works. You know, the truth of the matter is it isn't like kidnapping. You can be kidnapped, but most of the time it's a relationship. It's some 13-year-old girl who's going through puberty, or 14 or 15, and maybe she doesn't have all the support foundation. Her life's been a little upset. Maybe her parents got a divorce. Maybe she's in foster care. Maybe she's just one of those girls that are promiscuous and live on the edge. And some guy will come along, or a gang will place a gang girl. 60% of girls recruited into sex trafficking are recruited by another girl. And that is part of the reason for this show, is to alert you, mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, how this works, so that we can say never again will a kid be lured into sex trafficking. And it has been an incredible journey. I was thinking today, I have so many things I want to pack into this one last hour to share with you. But I've thought of the number of times in my life. I was checking into a restaurant for a reservation one night and gave my name, and this guy come up to me and said, "Are you Opal Singleton?" And I'm like, "Yep." I don't know what you were expecting, but here I am. And he said, "You saved my daughter." Well, I don't save daughters, okay? God saves daughters, but we can educate parents so they can save their own daughters. And that's what he was referring to. I thought today about a young girl who was only about 13 years old and was playing on a video game over by Redlands. And she did this every night. She came home from school. She was a daughter of a single parent, so mom left her alone for a couple hours, and she was a very responsible young lady, but she liked to play video games with this guy back east. I thought he said Tennessee somewhere, or somewhere in Florida. No, actually, now that I think about it, he was overseas, like Australia or somewhere. And it seemed harmless because he was a long ways away. And one day this guy says to her, "Hey, my aunt is here visiting in the States." That's right, he was in Australia. And she's in San Diego, and she's going to be coming up your way. Can she stop by and give you a gift from me? And without thinking, this young girl said, yeah, sure, she can do that. Well, this girl's a smart young girl, even though she was pretty young. And what happened is the next morning, as mom's about to go out the door to work, she realizes this aunt's about to come by and give her a gift, and she doesn't know anything about her. And so, thank God, she said to mom, "Hey, mom, can you stay home for an hour or two? Cause blah, 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 blah." And mom freaked out. She's like, "What the heck? Somebody's coming by the house from your friend that you're talking to in Australia." And they devised quickly a plan where this girl was kept in the back room and mom was waiting on the sidewalk. And sure enough, they lived in a condo. Sure enough, this van pulled up, 3 people inside. Mom said they scared her to death, especially the driver and the woman in the front seat. Young man got out of the back seat with a gift, but he looked like a gang member. And mom said, "No, she's not here." While that girl is hiding in the back room, she texted her friend over in Australia to say that the aunt was there. And when that happened, that text went off with that young man standing right there in front of mom. There never was a guy in Australia. He always was nearby trying to seduce this girl into getting into a car with him and disappearing. That is how pimps and predators use social media to lure in people. Thank God for that girl to be smart enough to figure it out and ask mom to intervene, and for mom to be astute enough to intervene herself. And those are just some of the stories that I have known over the time that we have been on the radio show. You know, we have a movie out that is on Amazon, iTunes, and Apple TV. It's called Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic. And just in the last couple of months, it was shown back in New Jersey. It's on Apple and iTunes. Anybody can see it. A church decided to show that movie in their youth group and their evening service. this. And two young men came forward. One of them was being blackmailed, had already paid out $500 to the online blackmailer to get back a nude photo, and another had paid $8,000, and he was thinking of taking his own life because he could not get free from the blackmailer. Those are just some of the stories that come out from the work that we do, and you say to yourself, praise God that somebody made all of this possible, that we can go out into the public and then we can educate parents and grandparents, but especially those young people. I never met a kid yet that wants to be violated, but they're looking to you and I, Grandma and Grandpa, and Mom and Dad, to be smart enough to educate them. And that's what the work we do. We're coming up against break time, folks. My name is Opal Singleton. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of MillionKids.org. I believe the four most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says, I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love. Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton, and I'm just sharing some of the history of this show over the past 8 years. One of the things I'll always be grateful for was that I was awarded the opportunity to do this show before my first husband passed away. For those of you that don't know the end of the story, I went 2 years as a widow, and certainly those were the two most challenging years of my life. But I chose not to date because I wanted to have time to know who I was. And at the end of 2 years, I sat down with my cousin and said, I think I'm going to date. And 2 days later, I met my current husband. His name is Dr. Ken Hendershot. He is a retired school principal, amazing man. He has only ever dated 2 women in his life, and he married both of those. So there you go. And I got very, very lucky and very spoiled. And he has been so generous in giving of his time and support for the work that we do. I know my first husband would be proud. I know my second husband is proud. And it's been quite the journey. But where I really come down is all the people I work with. You know, I'm not the only person at Million Kids. Million Kids is a 501c3 public benefit organization. And I personally have trained over 750,000 people eye to eye, and God knows tens and tens of thousands by Zoom and Teams, Microsoft Teams, and like that. And and I will continue to do that for what it's worth. And I hope you will follow us at millionkids.org, because this is a fast changing world. And as I look at all the times that we were able to get the information out to others, you know, we have a team of people here at Million Kids. One of the most powerful people at the organization is a lady who does the behind the scenes work. Her name is Dina Murray. She came from Southern California. She lives in the Midwest now. But what an incredible lady she is. She and her husband adopted 12 foster children and raised 20 foster children. And she does this work because she recognizes that foster kids are the most likely kids that are eligible or out there to be violated or being seduced. You know, we all want someone to love us. And you know, it's amazing how easy pimps figure it out that, hey, baby, I'll be there for you. I tell kids when we talk in school, some of the most dangerous words on earth are, I will take care of you. And, Dina has spent her life empowering foster kids. She's helped us, as many of you in our audience donated to the foster kids bedding program. And we will continue to do that, by the way. That first night in foster care is really the scariest night of all. So we provide a comforter, and it's not just some crummy little comforter. It's a Spider-Man comforter, or, I can't even think of all the others. There's a unicorn one, and there's all these kids stories out there, and we get the bedspread, we get the sheets to match, we get a decorator pillow, and then some sort of toy that they can hang on to and feel comfort. And we do that because 60% of kids in trafficking come from foster care. You want to stop human trafficking 2 ways. Start with your own family, and then work outward and start to find kids that have less than your kids have, and empower your foster kids at church, your foster kids that are out there that know your kids, accept them, build them up, help them get a uniform so they can play soccer with other kids, or maybe take a dance lesson, whatever they do. But I believe that one of the most powerful ways to keep kids out of trafficking and keep them from sending a nude online is let them know we believe in them. Many of you that listen to this show know that this organization can and will continue to sell challenge coins. They're absolutely gorgeous. Challenge coins is a very nice gold coin with indentations on it. And on one side it says, I believe in you. And the other side it says, stand tall, you are loved. Sometimes husbands give them to wives, and wives give them to husbands, and they often will have a grandparent who will give that to their grandchild as a legacy. By the way, they're still for sale. We're not out of business. Go to millionkids.org. They're $20 without a bag, $22 with a velvet bag, and then $25 for a gift box. And they make amazing gifts, and also they make amazing graduation gifts for what it's worth. But I believe the 4 most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. Because think about what a pimp is selling a foster kid. Hey, baby, I'm here for you. I'll be your daddy. I'm going to take care of you. If we can get there first and let these kids know they are valuable. When I talk to kids in school, we talk about, that when they're online, especially if they're meeting up with a guy, we talk about what's an empowering relationship and what's an exploitive relationship, because this generation of kids will make their relationships online, and we don't give them any kinds of tools to tell. We often will share, and you might make note of this. If you're talking to someone online and they try to move you from one app to the other, watch out, because that's most likely your first indication you're talking to a predator. If you're on one of those dating sites, and I don't care if you're 70 years old and on a dating site, they'll say, hey, let's talk offline. They're listening to everything we say. If they are trying to move you when you first met, that is a big sign that they're a predator. If they're saying, this is our little secret, don't tell, I tell kids, your power is to go out and tell everyone you know. Because if you're in a relationship, you have to keep a secret. It is not going to be a healthy relationship. And by the way, that's good advice for adults too, just for what it's worth. While I'm preaching, bear with me here. But it is so true. They move you, they tell you not to tell, they begin to send you photos, and then they start making the demands, and you're doing all the giving. If you're in a relationship where they're making all the demands and you're doing all the giving, that's not a relationship. That is a negotiation, and you're losing. I share with kids about having the way you don't get recruited, the way you don't get groomed, the way you don't get seduced into sending a nude, the way you don't end up being sent out for commercial sex, is you know who you are and what you stand for. You decide you're going to be somebody. And I often suggest to parents to have that conversation with your kids. Get them to sit down with you and write out their values. What do they stand for? A kid kid who is going somewhere and is wanting to make something of their life is much more difficult to recruit. You know, another conversation to have with your kids is about self-esteem. So many people think today that self-esteem is a gift you give yourself. No, I got that wrong. Self-esteem, they believe, is something that came in the DNA and their family didn't get it. And everybody in their family struggles with feeling good about themselves, and they're easily taken advantage of. Self-esteem is a decision you make. It is a gift you give yourself. Once you decide that you are loved and you're lovable and that you're valuable, nobody can take that away from you. And you can change your self-talk. Instead of saying, I'm nothing, I'm nobody, I screw up all the time, nobody loves me, I'm not very smart, you can say to yourself, okay, I made a decision and it wasn't a good decision, but I'm going to make a new decision and we're going to correct that. You know, learn to love yourself first instead of expecting other people to love you. Self-esteem is the gift you give yourself. You make up your mind you're valuable and you start to tell yourself positive things. There is a guy, he's still on YouTube, he's dead now, but he was well worth the effort to read. His name was Dr. Dwayne Dyer. And this man, when I was a teenager and struggling with self-esteem for a lot of reasons, that man changed my life. He taught me that what I say to myself is the most important conversation I will ever have with anybody. To be able to say to yourself, you're valued, you're loved, you are smart, and yeah, you make mistakes, but okay, I can make a new one. One of the things our kids need to hear loud and clear is there is no such thing as damaged goods. People will try to demoralize our kids to get them to make more bad mistakes. Okay, you made a mistake, and might be a costly mistake, but it is never too late to turn your life around and make new decisions. Poor decisions happen. Mistakes should not control our lives, and our kids need to hear that from us loud and clear. That is what pimps and predators prey on, and we can put the stops, the kibosh on that right now. It's only a conversation. This is Opal Singleton. We're up against that break, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This show is brought to you by MillionKids.org. I hope you'll continue to follow us. I hope you'll continue to be part of our family. Million Kids is not going away. We're having to operate a little bit differently. We'll be doing a lot more of online videos and like that. But if you go on our website, we probably have the most resources in all of America to keep your kids safe from predators. We have tons and tons and tons of podcasts and videos that are on there. Not just myself. We were talking about Dina Murray that works with us. Linda Berg-Herring, she often has podcasts on there. She's a private investigator. She handles, for instance, romance scams, which are just absolutely, I talked about them 2 weeks ago. They're just absolutely heartbreaking to see a 70-year-old person desperately lonely, wanting to find someone who they can just talk to and engage with. And the next thing you know, they've lost their life savings. It is a $1.3 billion industry, romance scams. We will continue to create videos and send out about that. The same kind of thing with sextortion. I have spent a lot of time educating young people about sextortion, and it is getting more and more sophisticated. Linda Berg-Herring is a private investigator that specializes in child sex crimes, but she also helps people with romance scams. If you're talking to someone online and they want money, or your kid's engaged with someone and they've sent a nude, first of all, if that's your child that's done that, you need to prepare to take them to law enforcement. Do not go online and tell that pedophile that you know that your child is being blackmailed. Do not alert them in any way, and do not delete the photos. If your child's involved in being blackmailed, it is important how you handle it, mom and dad. And that is some of what we've done with this show, as people have called us up and told us what has happened to their child, and it's just absolutely devastating. So if your child is being blackmailed, or your senior citizen is being blackmailed, or they're being lured into sending money to somebody online, there needs to be an intervention. But do not alert that predator that it's happening. If it's an older person, the thing that you need to do is get as much information as you can, but it's very difficult to convince that older person that that person on the other end of the line doesn't love them. So you need intervention. If you go to millionkids.org, we have romance scam intervention information, or you can contact me, Opal, OPAL, at millionkids.org. I am not going away. You are always welcome to contact me at Opal, OPAL, at millionkids.org. If your child is being blackmailed, this is really scary business. So let me back up. I'm going to take the rest of this section and share with you what to do one last time. Listen to this. First of all, if you find out that your child has sent a nude, we need to have that talk with them. I hope that right now, the first thing you do, is they have not done it, is sit down with them and go online and look at our sextortion resources and share with your child that you want them to be a leader so that they can help other kids who may have sent a nude. You see, with artificial intelligence, you now have deep fakes, and every one of us in the future could end up being blackmailed online and having a photo that is our head, but not our body, that has been altered on a deepfake AI site. And right now there's over 60 Nudify sites that does that. And the next thing you know, they'll start to blackmail you. And they will, if you're a husband, they will try to, pray and say they're going to tell the wife. And if you're the wife, they're going to tell the husband. And if you're the kid, you're going to tell mom and dad. Everybody listen up. This is the way of the future. Right now, the world changed. I wrote a book called Societal Shift, A World Without Borders, A Home Without Walls. And what is happening is now people in Nigeria and Philippines and Cambodia and Myanmar and I can't even think of all of them, Belize and Ivory Coast, they have literally hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of poor people that they they are putting online to get your kid to send a nude. And the minute that nude goes out there, their life becomes living hell. And unfortunately, too many of our kids are taking extreme circumstances rather than going to a parent and talking about it. The minute the nude goes out there, it goes from the people that were soliciting and pretending to be the 14-year-old girl or guy over to a cartel in Nigeria or in Ivory Coast or in Philippines. And suddenly your child's life becomes living hell. This is important that you sit down and share that with your child. I am about to create another TikTok 1-minute video where kids say, never, never, never again will I send a nude. I did it, I'm being blackmailed. They want money. They won't leave me alone. They're threatening my friends. Never, never, never again should you ever send a nude. It is important to talk to your child that from here on out, they never even think about it twice, because research indicates that 1 out of 6 kids, 1 out of 6 boys, and 1 out of 7 girls have sent a nude online. With artificial intelligence, with global connection, with money transfer on all of these sites that are out there, with geolocation software, with artificial intelligence gathering up everything about you. The minute one of those people gets a nude, what they do is they come back to your kid and they start showing them pictures of their bedroom and their mom's work and the pictures of their mom. And they say, I know everything about you and I need $5,000. I need it in the next 24 hours. And it becomes absolutely brutal. One of the kids that was a victim of this received over 1,000 texts in a 24-hour period. Our ministry here at Million Kids, and we appreciate your financial support, we appreciate your prayers, is to prepare this generation of kids to be the first generation that educates all the next generations about how online exploitation works, because it's life-changing. This is the first generation in all of history that has been connected to the entire world. And you add onto that video gaming that has animated video game character pornography and artificial intelligence and money transfer, and we need to get this generation ready to lead all future generations into a world without borders and a home without walls. We can do that by helping our kids understand who they are. The way they don't get violated is they know who they are and what their values are. And hopefully some of those values will include, I will never send a nude online, period. And if I find myself in a situation where I'm being blackmailed or being threatened, I know that it is too big a problem for me to handle alone, and I can go to my family and they will help me through it. This is what we really have to do. This starts with empowering your child, helping your child have strong self-esteem. If you're putting a child with low self-esteem on the internet without supervision, especially if they're sleeping with their phone, especially if they're prepubescent, if that's happening to that child is a sitting duck to become blackmailed. They don't care how old you are. They don't care where you live. They don't care what your background is. The way to stand against this is for us to bulletproof our kids and let them know that they can be strong leaders getting ready for the next generation. When you go online with something like Fortnite or TikTok, you can be on there with almost 1 billion people, and you don't know them. And it is no longer like Facebook where you're on there with somebody you know. Pedophiles, they've learned that with Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok, all you have to do is sign up and wait. And they pick out these categories, hashtag hot cam girl, hashtag itty bitty bikini, or the hot dances on TikTok. And they sign up, they wait, and they start shooting out the messages. Hey, baby, you're hot. Meet me on Instagram. Get me more of those photos. I'm an agent. I'm going to make you famous. If your child wants to be an influencer and they have low self-esteem, I guarantee you they're vulnerable. This is a time in all of our history that we need to bulletproof our kids. And by the way, mom and dad, we need to bulletproof ourselves. A parent that has low self-esteem will struggle to raise children with high self-esteem because they don't know themselves, their own value. Take a look at yourself, write your values, decide you're valuable. Self-esteem is a gift you give yourself, and it's a gift you help your children and your grandchildren to understand. The 4 most powerful words on earth. This is one of the last chances I'm going to get to share this with you. I hope you will never forget it. 4 most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. My name is Opal Singleton. We're coming up against that break, so stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited, Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Hello and welcome back to Exploited, Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton with our final segment. One of the things that I hope that you have learned from following this show and from following me and kids, and I do hope with all my heart that you will go on and sign up for our newsletters so that you can continue to be educated, and that you see many of the resources that we have out there so that you can still continue to receive this information. One of the reasons that I do what I do is because God has given me a vision that I feel very, very passionate about, if you can't tell. And that is that I believe with all my heart that we live at the most important time in all of history. And I mean that. Think about your life and all that has happened up until this time in history. And here you are. I don't care if you're 80 years old or 60 years old or 14 years old. You have been called to be a leader at the greatest time in all of history. And the reason I say that is I want you to think about, this is the book, Societal Shift, which I wrote a couple of years ago, and it is really on steroids. I may write an ebook again shortly so that I can explore this. But think about how technology changed in the last 2 years. It changed your life. For the first time in history, the entire world has 5G high-speed internet. Who would have believed 4 years ago that some cartel in Nigeria could come into your kid's bedroom at 3 o'clock in the morning and offer them whatever? Who would believe that some scam farm out of Myanmar can have literally over 20,000 people pretending to be young, sexy things that want to seduce some 71-year-old widower and get their money? And all of this is on the internet. If you want to look it up, go to YouTube and put in scam farms. Okay, just put that in. Put in sextortion, teen suicide, and you can see all of this on here. For the first time in history, the entire world has come together. Okay, maybe the Tower of Babel beat it, but they didn't have internet, thank God. But think about what that means in your call to leadership. And I'm talking about leadership within your own family. I'm not talking about you giving up everything and going off to a commune and meditating. I'm talking about stopping and realizing where your life is. We now have over 60 Nudify sites. I had a case that if you're following us, you would know about it. 5th graders over in Beverly Hills, they were taking the girls' pictures and running them through Nudify sites and sending them all over school. Well, it's pretty funny, I guess, because they have the software to do it. But what about the girl who's being humiliated? It's her face, but not her body. What about the babies in child pornography selfie rings where their bodies are being altered, and that's being sent all over the world. We have never had this capability for artificial intelligence to have deep fakes. What about the fact that now people from all over the world can know everything about you? Talk to your child and show him a picture of his own bedroom, and it's coming out of India. It's coming out of literally overseas somewhere in the Ivory Coast. Now kids were the first that had money transfer on their video gaming, and so they can pay blackmailers, and blackmailers get it. Geolocation software. Have you looked at the dating sites lately? They all have geolocation software. Your kid's thinking of an alternative lifestyle, and they go on Grindr, and this guy down the road says, hey, it looks like I'm only 4 miles away from you. How about let's get acquainted and I'll mentor you? This is the first generation in all of history that has global connection, artificial intelligence, money transfer, geolocation software, and global scam farms set up to maximize that for our children, for our old people, and for ourselves. Here's where we need to go, folks. Number one, I hope you'll continue to follow us to stay informed. Number two, the way you bulletproof each other is to help each other understand your own worth, that you have strong self-esteem, that you write down your values, that you know who you are, that you have open conversation so they can come to you if they're being blackmailed. So your widower dad can say, I'm very, very lonely and this thing overseas really likes me, but she wants money. And you can begin to talk about those kinds of things. It is literally a changing world out there, and that has been and will continue to be the ministry of me and kids. Finally, in the last 5 minutes, I just want to pour out my heart to you. So many people I've met over the last 5 years and last 8 years, that have said their lives have been changed, or they really appreciate this, or they've got a granddaughter that is doing something and she's only 11, and how do they get interception? Or, I have someone that I'm very, very worried about, or my kid just suddenly disappeared and I didn't like her boyfriend and I don't know how to find her. So many of these situations we've been able to deal with over the last 5 years, the last 8 years. I want to take this time to thank KTIE AM590 for giving me the opportunity to have this show. When I started, I had never been on the radio. My first day, I walked in that office, and in those days, I saw Rush Limbaugh and all those people on the wall, and I thought, what the hell am I thinking? And I almost turned around and walked out. But Dan Gilchrist is our producer, and he's been my producer for 8 years, and he's helped me through all of this craziness that we have done, and I could not have ever done any of this without him. AM590 is one of those stations, one of those people that are out there that we are just blessed to have out there. I know there's millions of alternatives online, but these are conservative people with strong values. Barbie Anderson has been my sales and marketing person, and she's been amazing to work with us because she wanted us to stay on the air. And I thank Barbie for all the work that she's done. I want to thank BMW of Riverside, who sponsored us for many, many years. They've now changed ownership, and I don't have that sponsorship anymore. But I appreciate Chuck Hughes and the people there that John Horton and the people there that supported us, especially in the early days when we weren't very big, and we're still not all that big, but that was never our intention. We have never been about corporation building. Maybe that's some of our downfall. Maybe we should have been stronger at that. We are here to save lives. We are here to change lives. We are here to make families stronger. We're here to make marriages stronger. We're here so that husbands and wives can look at each other and say, I'm so proud of you and I believe in you. That all started with me with my first husband, who wrote out these amazing words to me when he was passing away to let me know that he loved me. And he's been gone 8 years now, and I'll never forget him. I'm so grateful for my current husband, Ken Hendershot, and his support of me. I'm grateful for KTIE. I'm grateful for all the people that work with Million Kids, Linda Berg-Herring, Tanya Holt, Clark Morrow is one of them, Nancy Aguirre, Hernandez, so many people. I'm grateful for the Riverside County Human Trafficking Task Force and Sheriff Chad Bianco that continues to allow me to be the advisor to their training and outreach of the Human Trafficking Task Force. Riverside County has one of the most amazing, strong human trafficking task forces in the nation, and I thank Chad Bianco for that, and I also thank Mike Hestron, District Attorney Mike Hestron, for being strong prosecutors and standing up to the bad guy and being able to investigate those really hardcore cases and making sure that predators and pedophiles pay the price if they harm a children or harm a child. Folks, thank you for letting me in your life. Thank you for letting me be a part of that. My last words to you is put your arms around your family. Tell them how proud you are of them. Talk about what it's like to live in a world without borders and a home without walls. Talk about being called to a ministry, and every one of you are, that you prepare this generation to be strong, to have strong self-esteem, and not let somebody you've never met seduce you into sending a nude or paying money or falling in love online with someone you never met that wants money. All of those things are so important. So I'm going to ask you to pick up the fire, pick up the torch and carry it on. Keep each other safe and let each other know how proud you are of them. Let them know that together, in believing in each other, you can be strong. If you're struggling with self-esteem, stop and realize you're missing the greatest gift of all. Your gift is the gift of believing in yourself. It's not something you're born with. It's a decision you make. And once you give yourself that gift, your life will change forever. Thank you for all who have donated to millionkids.org. I hope you'll continue to. You can write to me at opal@millionkids.org. Love you guys. Thank you for following us all these years. You're special in my heart. Appreciate you.